You're listening to alltalkradio.net, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guest, and not necessarily those of the staff or management at alltalkradio.net.
Welcome to Synchronicity and Your Life. My name is Jane McGuire, and co-hosting the show with me from now on is Elena Risto, and this is actually a joint partnership. We are doing this together. Feel free to jump in anytime.
I would like to say that I'm shy, but that's not the truth.
That's not the truth. And actually, for those of you that are listening for the first time for this new show, thank you very much. The beautiful introductory song was sung by co-host Elena Risto, and the name of it is Here I Am. And I think, well, you should talk about it. It's your song.
Well, it was actually written in 2003 with a friend of mine, my songwriting partner, Jim Fisher, who's up in Vancouver, Washington. And I was actually coming out of a divorce after being married for 27 years.
Oh, so boy, does that sound familiar.
I know. So it's one of those things when you're going through that kind of an emotional thing that he showed up one day. We were doing some songwriting together, and he'd been driving over, and he showed up, and he goes, I've got this tune that's rolling around in my head. And he tended to be the music, and I tended to be the lyrics, although after a while, it gets combined. You don't know who starts what, right? So it came out of that, and it's kind of been kicking around. I haven't actually officially released it, so I could say this is the official release.
This is the official debut, and what was heard was just a portion of the song. And Synchronicity, you actually looked it up.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so what is the official, this is according to?
This is Wikipedia.
Wikipedia. Okay, so the official definition of synchronicity
is the experience of two or more events as meaningfully related, where they are unlikely to be causally related. The subject sees it as a meaningful coincidence. This is a concept that was first described by Carl Jung, a Swedish psychologist, in the 1920s. So causal, for those of you that don't know, usually means that one thing leads to another. A leads to B, leads to C. So in this case, it would be like A and F come together.
Right.
And we just don't know how, or they're even farther apart than that. So, and Jane and I were talking before we started, and talking about, I was telling her that since I started focusing on this last week when we decided we wanted to revive the radio show. All the things that have happened coincidentally.
Yes, and there's no such thing as coincidence.
No, there really isn't. And once you start looking at it, what I've discovered is that people talk about magic. This is where the magic starts, I think.
And just for those of you that are hopefully back with me, the my old show, the regular Synchronicity, because this is Synchronicity and Your Life, the theme song to that show, which is also the theme song to my personal life, is Don't Stop Believing by Journey, and sung by Steve Perry when he was with Journey. And the synchronicities since signing the contract last week. Here with you and George. And we got out to the parking lot. You and I were heading up to go have dinner after this. I turn on the radio on my favorite radio station, and the first song that is played is Don't Stop Believing by Steve Perry, at which point anybody that knows me knows I have to crank that song. And so called George over. There it was. We get there. We were talking about the show at dinner. Actually, did we do meditation last week after this? I think we did.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know.
So then after dinner, you go home, I go home. Yeah, no, we went home. And first song on the radio that was actually on Delilah. Somebody was dedicating a song to his fiancée, and the song was "Don't Stop Believing." Get up this morning. The lead news on NBC this morning is that Steve Perry, after a 20-year absence, is back performing, and of course the clip that they played was "Don't Stop Believing." So for me, that's 3 times synchronistic, you know, that this is where I need to be, back where I need to be.
Right. One of the things that we talked about when we talked about reviving this, what do we do for the first show?
We talk about our story.
We talk about our story, about how we came together. And I think we all have incidents in our life where random things happen. You'll be thinking about somebody and all of a sudden they'll call. Or you'll go into a store and you'll meet somebody or see somebody you haven't seen in years. And then something out of that will come, and it was like it was meant to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you know, when I came to Las Vegas, which was actually in 2003, and I've been a professional singer for, well, we won't talk about how that, it's over 30 years. But I was still on the road quite a bit. I was working on the fair circuit. And so I was here, but I wasn't here. I'd be here occasionally. And then in 2008, with the great financial meltdown, I had owned a couple of houses that were rental investments, and I became part of the collective here in Las Vegas that had a foreclosure. I had a short sale. I ended up in my original home that I purchased when I first came here, and I was starting on my path shamanically. I was already on it. I just didn't know it in those terms.
I understand that.
Yeah, yeah, and so I ended up, after foreclosure, I ended up in a friend's home doing some house sitting, which was supposed to be for 2 months, but it turned out to be about a year and a half.
That's about the time you and I met.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I looked up this place that offered space for people who were doing work, who had wanted to do work in the alternative energy field. I've always been an alternative healing energy.
Yeah, that goes back to your birth.
Yeah, that's pretty synchronistic as well, you know. And that's where I met Jane.
Yeah, we met, and I have to say, for me, when I first met you, it was just like, oh, hello, I recognize you.
Yeah. It's been that way.
And we have different modalities that overlap.
Very different.
Really, really well, though.
Yep. And we do work together.
Yeah,
occasionally. We just did some last night together with someone.
Right.
And it's just very interesting how it has all played out, because it was, sometimes I go into situations and I think, well, this is going to last for a couple of years, and sometimes it only lasts as long as I make a connection with someone.
Right.
And then it's like something else has entered my path and off we go.
Yeah. A reason or a season.
Right.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
a lifetime.
Lifetime, yeah. Yeah, and so...
I've had all kinds of those kinds of relationships.
And, you know, that's what this show is about. It's about realizing what the relationships are and what you can learn from them. And you and I, just walking our separate paths and then our paths coming together over the last couple of years, we've had some of the similar experiences with different life lessons, and sometimes you've learned life lessons that I have just learned.
Yeah.
You know? And so sometimes, even for people that work in our field, which is alternative healing, you know, we need that person to bounce off. There's a lot of healers out there, not just here in Clark County and Las Vegas, but globally, that need that person that they can bounce it off of that does have a different modality. They need that support system. And some of these healers, and I'm not going to mention names because it's really not important, but some of them don't know how to seek that kind of help, and ego gets in the way.
I agree. And I think that also helps. I think it also comes into play when you're working with people that are going through a real traumatic time. And part of the work that I have done in the past that led up to opening the door to the shamanic path was about emotional awareness and becoming aware of what my intention is. Somebody gets hurt, somebody has a problem, and one of our first things is we feel sorry for them, and we want them to feel better. And it doesn't mean we don't have compassion for them, but sometimes just going in and saying something isn't enough, you know?
Yeah, and actually, you know, feeling sorry for someone, unless it's like a death or something, is actually really not appropriate. It is better to feel compassion, because when you're feeling sorry for someone, that's not empowering them. That's keeping them in that same place, unless, of course, it is the death of someone near them. Then it's appropriate. But if they're going for a bad time, you don't want to say, oh, I feel sorry for you. It's, how can I support you? what can I do? Oh, we have a caller, maybe. And that we should actually probably put out the number to call. Hello. Welcome to Synchronicity and Your Life.
Hello, this is Hannah. I'm so happy for you guys.
Hannah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, this is great. This is really great. I hope everybody is taking the opportunity to call in, to text in.
Well, you're our virgin caller.
To make the connection.
Hedda, you're our virgin caller. You're a virgin again.
Caller. Yes. You have broken the phone line in. Absolutely. And you're actually your friend and client,
they need to call in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hedda's working with me on a in June. I'm doing a 2-day workshop, so Hedda's helping me to get it out there and help handle the details.
And you know what? Why don't you put that out there right now? This is for people not just here in Clark County.
No, it's for everybody.
Right.
I'm doing a 2-day workshop. I'm a shamanic healer and a practitioner, and I'm doing a 2-day workshop June 21st and 22nd.
Right at the change of season.
Right, and it's the summer solstice.
Yep, very powerful time.
Very powerful time, and it's called Walking the Shamanic Path. And the first day it'll go from it'll be 6 or 7 hours, but it'll be how to do a shamanic journey for yourself and the different ways you can do that journey. And then the second day is how do you do a shamanic journey for your friends and your family and your community? Because people are asking.
And it's going to be great.
And
it's going to be absolutely great.
And where are you doing this? Do you have a location?
Henderson. Yeah, we're doing it at the Atrium in Henderson, which is like St. Rose Parkway and Paseo Verde Parkway.
Okay, and then how do people sign up for this, and how much does it cost?
Well, it's going to it's a little complicated because I've had some people that I've been working with, like Hedda, for well over 2 years. If you have never done this before, it's $199 for the 2 days. If you have worked with me and you have a good connection with your guiding teacher and your animal spirit, and you have either taken the Way of the Shaman through the Foundation of Shamanic Studies, or you have worked with me for at least 2 or 3 shamanic circles, the first day is free, and the second day will be $99.
Oh, that's a really good deal.
Yeah.
That's
it really is.
And people can make payments.
They can make a payment. We're going to be able to take credit cards. We haven't got it quite set up yet. I'm trying to figure out how to do that online.
And is there a website to go to?
You can go to my website. I don't even believe it's up there yet. Probably the best thing would be to email me at info@shamanicsong.com. That's the best way at this moment.
Okay, and then, or, a 10-20 if you do shamanic healing circles around town.
I'm going to be at Naturally Organic at Charleston and Buffalo on June 6th and the 13th from 6 to 8. And if you came to both of those and made the kind of connections I'm talking about, it's possible you could come on the first day.
So there's still time for people that are interested in the shamanic path. And I got to tell you, I do pranic healing, and I do some other type of energy work too that I'm in the process of developing. But I can tell you all that the work that Lainey does works. It does. It works. And,
well, let's let my client and student here. Hedda, are you still there?
Give her a testimonial.
Yes, I am. I'm here.
This is your chance to talk, girl.
Oh, okay. Well, I have to say to everybody that's listening, it is absolutely the most incredible, life-altering, I guess that's the right word to say, experience. I started probably, like Lainey said, 2 years ago, have gone through so many different episodes of learning how to meditate deeper, how to do journeying for myself, and now I'm learning how to journey for family and friends, and it's absolutely incredible. Yesterday, I not only spoke to my youngest grandson, who's 9 years old, who just wanted to call and check on Nana and connect with her because he was remembering his dream catcher and how Nana says that will help him.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's nine years old. And then after that, I'm sorry?
You're a healer as well, correct?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, Hedda.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'm so glad you said yes.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. Absolutely. I am. I'm just trying to grow deeper, further, so I can help more individuals because it's a wonderful path. I'm happy that I embraced it. Of course, a lot of individuals at first are a little frightened and insecure, but that's just ego. It gets out of the way eventually, you know.
I think that's a part of the process for all of us, though.
Yeah, I do too.
Huh?
That's a part of the process for all of us, I think.
Yes, yes, yes. You're absolutely right. Because I was speaking to some ladies today, and they're afraid. And I said, you know what? I totally can identify with that because I probably was afraid for 3 or 4 years. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand that. But now, having embraced it and understand that this is my mission in life, I see individuals approaching me and asking for help now. So it's like I have no reason to be afraid because they're coming to me. I don't have to seek them out.
Right, because they're going to bring to you the clients that you can handle because you've learned some of the lessons, which is wonderful about going through this alternative healing, is you learn the lesson and then it gets reinforced by the next client that walks through the front door. You
That's
can
right.
sit there and
Isn't
you can
that
say,
the
I
truth?
recognize that life lesson.
Yeah, I've been there.
That is so true because yesterday I spoke on the phone to my mother's one and only living sibling out of 9 of them
Oh, wow.
for 3 hours.
Oh,
And
my
you have to understand,
gosh.
we have been estranged from each other since 1995 when my mother died.
Wow, that's a long time.
Did that call come out of the blue, Hedda?
But I initiated the call.
Okay. So some
but
part
as
of you-
far as,
Some part of you wanted to reach out.
Well, you know, she had a couple of little strokes, you know, a couple of months back, and I had connected her youngest daughter had contacted me and said she was hallucinating, and when she was hallucinating, she was talking to me, and everybody in the family is like, "What is she doing? Hedda's not here. Why is she talking to Hedda?" You know. So the youngest daughter called me and said, "Please call Mom. I don't know what's wrong with her." You know?
Oh, I think I
So
would
they took
call
her to the
that
hospital. And,
I think I would call that a synchronicity
Yeah.
because this is a relative you haven't talked to since 1995 and she has a stroke and has an hallucination and starts talking to you and everybody else hears it. Now you're being called. I'm just going to back up a second. So if there's listeners out there that don't know what shamanic healing is, it is another healing modality. It's thousands of years old. It believes that everything, every rock, every tree, every animal, every human has a spirit and that we're all interconnected. So shamanic healing works a lot with nature. So on that note, let's talk about the synchronicity. Hedda, if you don't mind, how you first called me. We have another call.
We have another call calling in.
oh, you have another call? Great.
Okay.
So,
Just real quickly, Hedda, can you just say it was a hawk, right, that sat on your fence?
It was. I'm sorry. Say again.
A hawk.
Yes, yes, yes. It was a hawk that came to my backyard and stared at me.
It stared
That's
at you.
how I ended up connecting with Lainey.
that because of a hawk
And Janie Powers.
and Janie Powers. Another local. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's really interesting is we don't connect all the dots of things that have gone on in my life. When I was a child, I was referred to as Hawkeye.
That was a great, he was a great character on MASH.
Yeah. Alan Alda. Yeah, that was great. Just so you know,
So-
that caller that call didn't go
yeah,
through, right?
the caller hung up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that caller, if you could call back,
yeah,
that'd be awesome.
yeah. We'll call back
Yeah.
and we'll.
Please call back. I'll hang up so somebody else can talk.
Okay. All right. But anyway, you don't have to right now. Let's see if something else comes in. So
Okay.
anyway, so you saw the hawk. As I recall, you
I
watched
did.
you
He
for
sat
how
on the
long?
fence.
An hour.
I would say a good 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
He was
okay.
making me nervous.
And so you
'Cause
mentioned
he was
it.
staying there for a long time. Huh?
So you mentioned it to Janie.
Yes, I called her and I said, do you know what this means? And she said, no, I know it has some kind of a spiritual connotation, but I'm not sure. But I know somebody that does. So I'll call her and give her your number. And then that's how we connected. And we talked, what? You
An
think
hour.
6 months or more?
Yeah.
No, I mean before I ever laid eyes on you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then
Oh,
you
yeah.
showed up at one of the healing circles. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was ready.
And then
I
one
thought.
day she said, I think I need some work. I
Yeah.
think I want some shamanic work. You know, so it
Yeah.
calls to you. And just so you know, all the modalities out there, whatever comes to you, whatever calls you, whatever falls in your path, it's worth at least investigating to find out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
are different,
Absolutely.
because I refer clients to you because there
Yeah.
are things that you're trained in that I'm not trained in.
Right.
And so that's what I would like to see happen in the healing field, not just here in Clark County, but globally. Eliminate the competition and there's not enough clients out for their mentality, and work together. Because I know that if I can't do something, I'm not going to sit there and pretend that I can. That's
Right.
not moving the client forward.
Well, and it is about the intention of being there for the client
Yeah.
and getting the right thing,
Mhm.
you know, that works
Absolutely.
for them. And it's about building community
Yeah.
within the alternative healing field.
And
So,
and outside of that as well. And those of you that have listened to my show before know I have a passion for working with active military and veterans, and I've managed to rope
Rope
her
me in.
into this.
right, right.
And actually, we've had a lot of really successful drum circles at U.S. Vets
Yes.
here locally.
Done a lot of work with the U.S. vets and doing some work
Yeah.
with them, and we've worked on them together.
Yes. Yeah, we just did that recently, and then it's now to the point where they're actually calling you up, or calling me up and asking the two of us
Right.
to show up at their once a month fun events.
Yeah.
And people are asking, where do you do this around town? Because the drumming you do, I have to say, I've never been to another drumming circle, and I don't think I could, after going to yours, I could go to another drumming
Well,
circle.
we kind of rock.
Yeah. Oh my God, these veterans that get up there and do this circle, it is
Yeah.
so much fun. They get up there and they dance, and we sing. What do we sing? We sing all the different songs.
We will rock
You can sing. People
Yeah.
are going to turn the show off if I sing.
Okay. No, we'll give them a chance. So, Hedda, is there anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to say that I've been telling people
Oh, good.
about your work with the veterans and how wonderful and how great that is. So, you know, I've been putting it out there for people that don't know anything about it, and they just think that's the greatest thing in the world, to have a support system for our veterans.
We were down at U.S. Vets at the main site here in Las Vegas yesterday, and Lainey actually sang the national anthem a cappella. And you actually had it was amazing, and you actually had some people in the back singing with you.
Yeah, and that's what I
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
I really like it when people feel like they can sing along. Usually I try and sing it low so people can
Yeah.
sing. And if you
So
notice,
people can join in.
yeah. And if you notice, I don't pop the high note at the
Right,
end.
right. I was waiting to see if you were going to do that, but
No,
that's
no,
not
no.
the first time you've sung at U.S. Vets.
No. I don't do that. I've heard that note go out of bounds
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's just, no, I don't like to
You
do
sang
that.
last year, not this past one, but last year you actually did more than just one song. You got up there and
Yeah.
sang at Stand Down
Yeah,
last year. Quite
yeah.
a few songs.
So yeah, music is a big part of my work, and sound is a big part of my work too. I do
Yeah.
sound healing, not only shamanic work,
Right.
but sound healing as
So
well.
you know what? Tell people about these tuning forks. There's lots of different kinds out there, but you have a special kind of tuning fork.
Well, yeah, mine are, I've been trained in acutonics, which is out of Colorado. And the set of forks that
And
I...
it's great and wonderful, I can tell you that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, she's liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And I also have a set of forks that's tuned to the Fibonacci code. And those of you that saw the Da Vinci Code, it has to do with that. It's the sacred geometry of all life. And the premise is that when that geometry in nature gets out of balance, that's when things get sick. That's
Right.
when people get depressed. And I've seen it work. I've seen a lot of people get a lot of help from that sound healing. And you don't really need to know why. I just let the sound do what it needs
Yeah,
to do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've been known to walk around the house in the morning with both earth forks in each ear,
Making sure you can hear it.
making sure I'm grounded, make sure I'm back on the planet.
And but it does work. 'Cause you
Well, I'm
need-
just saying, excuse me, but if anybody wants to investigate, that is like big time major
Yeah.
healing technique.
Yeah.
Really, I'm serious. It is really something else. I would encourage anybody that's listening to call her up, investigate it, ask questions, because it is absolutely amazing. It is amazing. I love it. I was just talking to somebody about it today that they needed to investigate it.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's really good. We did a meditation, it was last week, right? At US Vets, and you played the bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And
Crystal bowls.
The crystal bowls. And, you know, for people that have not gone to a crystal bowl or Tibetan bowl meditation, you really need to attend one.
And there are several around town.
Yeah, well,
And
not
we
just
have a
here
friend.
locally in their own area.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
you can find them pretty easily.
Yeah, it's a up and coming. Well, I mean, it's been around for thousands of years, but it's finding a new level of popularity now. And it's meditation with the crystal bowls and the Tibetan bowls, and they're actually very high vibration, and very, very clearing, very non-threatening. You know, very peaceful. Even the staff at US Vets, remember, they've felt it.
Yeah.
And so that's a great way to get clear. So you did that when I was leading a meditation last week. And then we stayed and did some work. And that was awesome. Because after meditation is when you really want to, or journeying, is when you want to clear out that energy.
Right. Yeah. A lot of guys say that they sleep real well, too.
They do. They sleep a lot better. They do. No, they do. Because, you know, the thing about this is shutting off. You got to shut off the brain, you know, before you go to sleep. And the last few things that you think of before you go to sleep is what your body's going to process. So you want to think positive things and manifest at that time. You want to go into your heart and feel that serenity and that peace and shut off the brain, you know, so that you can get that. Otherwise, it's going to be very fitful.
Right. Right. So as for the workshop in June, I was just sitting here thinking, by next week I'll have some more detailed information that people can sign up. We'll have things more set up. It's kind of interesting to try and get the credit card thing to work with the site, and everybody's got their own deal.
I would think PayPal would work well, too.
Yeah, and it's just knowing when you can plug it in. Like Meetup.com has their own thing. Or you can use PayPal as well. So it's kind of interesting to try and make what's going to be the easiest thing, and I always go for simple.
I would think they could call you up and you run their credit card.
And security. People are concerned about security these days, you know.
Yes.
And I know for a lot of my stuff, I use the PayPal thing because they got you covered, you know.
Right.
They 100% very, very knowledgeable about making sure all of their personal information is protected. But I got to run, guys.
Thank you for calling in, Hedda.
Love what you're doing. Love it.
See you, Hedda. Bye.
Thank you. And is that other caller calling back? We should give out the number. The number is area code 702-609-7626 if you want to talk to me or Lainey about some synchronistic event in your life. And then you can be calling from anywhere. And then we also are available on Skype at All Talk Radio. And then we also have a Facebook page. And
which it took both of us yesterday to get it going.
Right. Took both of us to do that because it was literally just mine. So Lainey's an admin on that as well. And that's Synchronicity and Your Life. So you can look us up on Facebook and interact with us there. George has the cameras on us right now. After the show, or even during the show, the show goes on to Google+. It goes on to Twitter. Goes on to, help us out, George. Where else does it go?
Actually, it's all there now.
It's
the
all
only
there
place
now?
it's got to go up to after the show would be Ustream and YouTube.
Ustream and YouTube. Okay, so we can be listened to live.
Yeah, we're on Pinterest. We're on Tumblr.
Tumblr. Okay, I guess
just all of them, pretty much, all the main.
And then this goes on YouTube to be up there forever and ever and ever and ever.
Yes, as long as the YouTube's there, they'll be there.
Right, and All Talk has
in the cloud. In the cloud,
yeah.
And All Talk has their own station on YouTube, correct?
Yeah, it's youtube.com/alltalkradio.
Okay, so please feel free to call in. You know I've got some friends of mine that I'm kind of expecting to hear from them.
Well, we've talked a lot about what I do, so tell them about what you do.
Okay. I'm woman,
and the
so I'm
synchronistic way you came to it.
I know, right? Well, I'm a local psychic here, licensed, and that doesn't mean I have to prove myself to the business. It means that I've had a background check done, that I'm clean and I'm not, fraudulent.
She's really good, though.
And so I've been intuitive since I was very little, and raised in a strict Catholic household, and my mother and father realized it when I was very young. I was 3 when I told them something was wrong with our dog, and sure enough, a couple days later, something was wrong with our dog. And so my grandmother, my dad's mother, had the gift, and so my parents and my grandmother sat down and decided to actively suppress this in me, because this is in the dark ages of 1963, 64, and if you were intuitive, you were possessed, and all this.
I could have helped you.
right. So anyway, life went on, and I followed the good Catholic stuff and didn't use my intuition, and then noticed, geez, I'm getting messages and my ex-sister-in-law, well, we're still friends, but my ex-sister-in-law is a psychic, and I saw her having some of that inner peace, decided I wanted it. So I really started developing it, working on it, then got a job at a local place that's now out of business, was moved to start studying energy work, and picked up a book on Reiki, looked at it, and it said I had to memorize 300 symbols in Japanese. And well, that's
enough to turn me
that
off.
Was the right. That was the book.
And I'm
by,
a Reiki master,
right, exactly.
so there you go.
And that was the book by Dr. Usui, the founder of Reiki. And I just looked at that and I was like, no, I wanted simple. And so then I looked at pranic healing, and it was with color. And I thought, oh, I've known my colors since I was little. I know my colors. And the technique is actually pretty basic. And there was a book put out by Master Ko, the current global leader of pranic healing, called Your Hands Can Heal You. And I was literally guided to that book in the bookstore. I bought that book and I read it. It's like a cookbook of what can happen with pranic healing. So I read it in about 2 hours and then called up the Pranic Healing Center in Chino and said, well, can I start doing this? I've read the book. And they just politely laughed at me and said, no, you have to take the seminars. So in February of 2009, I took my first level 1 pranic healing down in California, completely resonated with it, and couldn't wait, came back, started doing energy work, and then waited a month for the next class, took advanced level pranic healing, and then I took crystal therapy pranic healing, the use of stones, and then I took pranic psychotherapy, which is using certain colors to help clear the body of emotions, and I was doing all the meditations and and it was working. And my intuition, I'm already intuitive, but it was kicking it up.
Well, I don't know
notch.
about you, but every person or everything that I have come in contact with that taught me something integrates so fast.
Mm-hmm.
It just becomes part of what I do. It's like
Right.
I did Reiki for a number of years, and I still use it, and I use my intuition a lot.
Right.
Because, like you, I was very intuitive as a young child.
Right. Oh, we have a phone call.
Oh, good.
Welcome to Synchronicity and Your Life. Who's on the phone?
This is Roger Burns.
Hey, Roger. Good to hear from you.
Hello, Jane.
For those of you that remember the old show, Roger was a frequent co-host with me and actually came out to Las Vegas and did a couple of shows with me, and went to Washington, D.C. a few years ago and co-hosted the show over Memorial Day weekend.
So
And
this is the famous Roger
this
Burns
is the
I've heard about,
famous
but never
Roger
met.
Burns. Yes, Vietnam veteran. Yep.
Okay,
Famous.
okay. That's enough of all that. I'm simply who I am. Pleasant to hear your voice back on the radio. I'm on my way. I'm traveling right now. I thought I'd try to get in and give you a call and congratulate you both on your new show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Sounds like
you.
it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of fun, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is.
Jane knows of my shamanistic background, and it comes from my heritage and my soul, and it's not something I ever had to search out for. It's just always been there.
You know, it's interesting, Roger, because I've had a lot of people coming to Circle that are telling me, they're showing up and they're telling me in their background someplace there is some of that heritage. So your heritage is Native American, right?
Yes, and it's not background, it's my soul. It's always been there. You know,
And what's interesting is a lot of people will come up and they will say, well, oh, shaman, that means Indian. That's that Native American thing. And the truth of the matter is I have none of that in my background either. However, my son proved it because he did the genome project that's on National Geographic where you can do the cheek swab and send it in. And my background, which I always kind of had an idea is from the Sami people, the reindeer people up in the far northern European. So someplace in your background, Roger, we both have the same ancestor someplace. Because it was
well, you could say that could be true of everyone walking the planet.
and it is true of everybody walking the planet.
So that's a pretty broad statement, and I've heard of shamanism coming from different walks of life and different places in the country. But bottom line is, the Cherokee Indians have been here forever, and maybe it was passed down someplace, but I'm pretty sure they didn't know about other sources. It's just something that creates your soul and keeps you moving.
That's right.
Jane knows me very well, and she knows I could be a very formidable person, but I have to call on it.
But I have encouraged you to study shamanism.
Well, but it's the thing about shamanism is it's not a class, as Roger's talking. It's a spiritual path.
Right.
And so,
I've never had a class. No.
yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. In the very first workshop I took from my teacher and friend and mentor Sandra Ingerman was, as she said, you could take this class once you make the connection with your guiding spirits and your animal spirits. They'll teach you everything you need to know.
Right.
So you don't have to.
But
know?
sometimes it's easier just to get the techniques from somebody that's already
Right.
got it.
So
No.
consequently, the day I was born, I was passed from breast to breast with 7 Cherokee Indians. So that was my group.
Yeah.
And, my life's lesson has been my class. But
Yep. A lot of people's.
it's, if people out there can learn from you and learn that peace, that inner peace, it'll go a long way. I'll give you one real quick story how this works.
Oh, that's
Anybody
great.
that's listening that's curious about what it can do for you. I'm a Vietnam veteran, an airborne ranger, fairly a formidable guy. I ride motorcycles, have my entire life. I have that look. And 2 weeks ago, a guy turned the corner too short while I was sitting on a motorcycle that I'd owned for 3 weeks. This beautiful Harley Davidson. It's a very nice motorcycle, everybody's dream. Turned the corner short, hit me in the front wheel, knocked it out from underneath me, did $5,000 worth of damage.
Ouch.
A lot of spectators standing around. The police showed up. There was a woman probably 10 years older than me screaming in this guy's face for being an idiot. And the police officer asked me, it's pretty amazing. I look at you and I look at him and you're being awfully calm. I didn't tell him it was because of my faith and my belief. I just simply said, I just had a beautiful motorcycle destroyed. I don't see how an assault and battery charge added on my day is going to improve anything. So if people can learn that, then the world will be a better place, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You see so much about road rage and anger, and no one wants to take responsibility for doing it. I mean, if you suggest someone did something wrong, they've got a dozen reasons why it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Acceptance. That's where I come from. And, I get my strength from everything around me. Everything breathing, everything not breathing.
And
But Jane knows that. It's good to hear you back on the radio, Jane. I'm glad you're there. Who's on the boards?
Oh, George.
Hey,
George
Roger,
is.
how's it going?
But Natalie will be on the boards.
Hey, George.
Hey, Roger, how's it going?
It's going good, brother.
There was a time, Roger, about a year and a half ago, you were riding your bike. I don't remember what event you were going to, because you go to a lot. You're actually very involved. You're part of PGR and a bunch of other stuff. But you let me know that something was wrong with your hand. Remember this?
Right, my thumb, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to the, it was a 9/11 observance. It was kind of an anti-protest march. It seems the Muslims chose 9/11 to stage a protest in Washington, D.C. So we poured 880,000 motorcycles into Washington, D.C. on one day. But yeah, my left hand that's been damaged, my thumb, I was having a hard time shifting, clutching the motorcycle because I've got the particular type of clutch I have in it. And yeah, team got me through that pretty well. I finished out the ride, and actually it's been pretty good since.
And what he's basically saying is that energy work can be done distantly. And I know
Yes.
it's the same way with pranic healing as it is in
Shamanic
healing, because when you're working in the energy world, there's no state boundaries. There's no, that just exists in this plane, not in the energy world. And so
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. It is. I'm putting
That's
words
what I
into your mouth.
But it's true. I mean, it's actually true. Okay, here's a testimony that I tell people that I was on my way to work. I had a 6-man armed security agency working out west. I was looking all over. What was I looking for, Jane?
Oh.
The card out of my camera.
Now we got a call. Yeah.
The SIM card out of my camera. And something came up, and we were talking on the phone while I was doing it, and you into the couch under the table. There it was. I had tore the house apart looking for that stupid thing.
And they're
Anyway.
small.
So it's what you believe, it's what you do, and it's how you feel. I mean, you create your own message, I believe.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm not a teacher. I'm a doer. And
Well, we're all teachers.
We need a lot of doers.
Yeah, we do.
More than
Yeah.
teachers
do.
sometimes,
Right. Right.
Yep.
Right.
Well, it's good
People
to meet
aren't
you, Roger.
nice to meet you. I'm seeing a bunch of kids playing ball now, so I'm gonna have to get out and check this out.
Enjoy your grandchildren.
I will.
All right.
He was playing tonight.
Thank you for
All right,
calling.
y'all. Be well.
Always.
George, be well.
You too.
We'll all be good.
Well, you can.
I'd rather
I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to make that promise.
Even if you're gonna be bad, you have to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep,
All right, y'all.
All right.
Talk to you.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. And the other caller, I think we still have time for a phone call. If you wanted to call back, yeah, we still have time.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, 6702-609-7626.
Yep. Lines are open right now.
Yes, they are. So feel free to call and let us know about some synchronistic moments in your life.
He brought up a really good point. And this is a lot of what I teach in the circles, and I know you do as well, is that your thoughts become things.
Yeah, boy, did we get that last night.
True, yeah. And it's not that I've got it all figured out, because I'm with the best of them. Driving down the road, somebody cuts me off, and the first thing I want to do is go, "Why did you?" And the good news is sometimes I can catch myself.
Right.
Sometimes I can,
Right.
but sometimes I do. And the goal is, of course, to do it all the time. But I think the Dalai Lama is probably the only one that's got that one figured out.
I think so, and maybe some monks that don't come out in the world.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's important that he looked at that at the moment that the bike was knocked out from under him and decided and made a choice. He was in control.
He also
control.
knew it was going to happen because he could see the guy coming, and so he had, like you said, the foresight to actually not be on the bike.
Right.
Had he been on the bike, the bike was $5,000 worth of damage totaled, but had he been on the bike,
there is no price on your life.
Right,
There really
exactly.
isn't. No.
Exactly.
So I'm always telling people when they call me up with a traumatic event going on, and not right away, because people do need compassion. We talked a little earlier, you have a death in the family, there's grief that needs to be acknowledged.
Yes.
There's caring that needs to be acknowledged. But in times of difficult stress, one of the hardest things, but one of the most healing things, is to recognize that this is happening for me, not to me.
Yes, and yes, those words that you've said those to me before, and they have definitely rung through my head a lot.
Right.
But in those times, it's very easy to go into that trauma and into that. You said something interesting to me about a month ago, and it really.
Oh, did you write it down so I could remember it?
Well, what it was, we were actually talking about trauma. You and I do a lot of the holistic work with the veterans that does help release this trauma. But you said something that was how animals release trauma. Do you remember that?
No.
You said more
I
than
there?
wisdom. You were there.
I
You
think
said they
do we have
go
a
and
call?
they shake the trauma off.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They
And-
shake it off and move
Yep.
on.
Welcome to Synchronicity in your life.
Hi,
Hi.
Erica.
Hey, Erica. Oh, good. How are you tonight? How are you doing?
I'm good. We're watching right now.
Good, good. Erica's a client. And I've done some energy work with Erica, and we've done some forgiveness work.
Oh, good.
Which is a huge thing when working with emotional stuff.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Self-forgiveness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So how are things looking for you right now tonight, Erica?
We're just catching up right now. They're catching up.
Oh, yeah, we can barely hear you. You're going to have to speak into your phone because we can't hear you.
Hello, Jane. It's Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
Doing fine. Back with Erica. Things are doing good.
Good, good. So you're back in Las Vegas?
Yep.
Okay, good, good. So tell us about some of the synchronistic moments in your life.
Everything's changing for the better. Starting to get into school.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I've got my friend Lainey on here tonight. She's a shamanic healer, and we have been kind of talking about our separate paths. You and Erica actually connected not all that long ago.
Yeah, I know.
It's still a dream?
Yeah.
And another big good news is we're both having a baby.
That cut out. I didn't hear you, Jonathan.
Sorry, I said another bit of good news is we're having a baby on the way.
I thought that was what he said.
Yes, that's
Congratulations.
awesome news. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
That's a synchronistic event.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The union of two souls to create a third.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Are
Well,
you-
I'm glad that you're announcing this, so I guess this is official. Congratulations. Do we have a due date yet?
December or January.
Okay.
We'll arrive then.
Nice. Nice. Lots of preparations between now and then. I'm kind of glad I'm done with those childbearing years.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Done.
Very done.
I'll let the young ones handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine raising a teenager right now.
Oh, I can't.
God,
It's
no.
hard. Hard. A lot of stuff that you and I didn't face.
A lot of learning.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of peer pressure was bad when I was young, but it's really bad
Oh,
now.
yeah. It's really tough.
It's really bad. Well, congratulations, Jonathan and Erica. Thank you for calling in. Do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Oh, Erica wants to know, are you coming Friday?
Yes. Yes.
Well, you want to talk to Erica more?
If she has something to say, I'm listening. Erica, you're on the air.
Okay, so you're definitely going to come Friday?
We will have an appointment on Friday. Yes.
I'm a witness.
Yes.
She said so. We can look at it online
Yep.
and it'll verify it too.
Yep, we're working on a holistic way of doing this. Oh, you know what, Erica? We're just about out of time. I'm going to have to cut the call short. But thank you for calling. And I just want to say Erica is an Air Force veteran. She was in the
Oh.
military for a little bit. So she's decided to do some of this stuff holistically.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's happening a lot with the military,
It
with
is.
veterans,
Yep.
because they're finding this is the spiritual side of healing for both of us. That sometimes it'll take everything else and push it to a place
Right.
where it can heal better,
Right.
medically, physically.
Because there's not a pill for the soul.
No, there isn't.
And you know, the medical community can try as they will, but there's not a pill for forgiveness. You know, the medication, it slows the process down. And when somebody's either disconnected from earth or disconnected from spirit, whatever you want to call it, if you're not in balance with both of those, like you said earlier in the show, you're depressed, you're angry, because you're not finding that inner peace that Roger was talking about.
Well, the classic case is my own mother, who is currently 96 and has dementia. And about 2 months ago, I guess it was, that they called in hospice and they said, okay, she's going down, and this is declining now. And I can't say enough good things about hospice. I mean,
They're a wonderful system.
So at that point, it flips over to comfort care, and they took her off of what they called non-essential medication. So, in other words, medication that really wasn't going to do her any more good for the rest of her life. She got better.
Yeah.
She's now getting up. They're taking her out
Imagine that.
into the living room. She's talking to people again at 96. She still has dementia. She's still declining, but she's happier.
But at 96, you're allowed to have that.
I think so.
know,
I'm going to demand it if I'm cognizant. I'm going to do that.
Are you still there, Jonathan and Erica? No, okay. So, but yeah, you have that right to have that at that
Right.
age, I think.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the veterans that you and I talk with and work with, I hear a lot of them say they don't want to be on this medication.
Right.
And, sometimes it's necessary so that the medication can hold the space while you're working other stuff.
Because really what we're doing is we're alleviating suffering and
Right.
pain so that because the body is healing itself.
Right.
We're just supporting that process. So we're down to just the last couple of minutes.
Right. And then, but also one thing about pain is energy. And if people can use someone like us to get rid of that energy, then the medical thing or the
Blocked energy.
right,
Yeah.
the blocked energy.
Yeah.
Well, I think our show's been a wonderful first hour.
I had a good time.
I did too. So I think we should do this next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
do
we should do
that.
this again.
George is going, you better be here next week.
Same time,
So
right?
same bat time, same bat channel. Please feel free to like our page on Facebook, Synchronicity and Your Life. And Elena Risto, shamanic healer. She can be reached at Shamanic Song, right?
ShamanicsSong.com.
And
Yep.
I'm can be reached on the Facebook page, Synchronicity and Your Life. My website is still under construction.
And I have a Shamanic Song Facebook page as well.
Okay.
And I want to mention something because I just real quickly that I noticed Robert Walker passed away, which was a favorite person on this show.
Right.
I wasn't fortunate enough to meet him, but I read the comments this morning.
Yeah.
And I want to say that I'm sorry I didn't meet him, but the work that he appears to have done was wonderful work, and I'm sure that what was waiting for him was definitely a transcendent
I'll tell you
experience.
that one of the reasons I'm glad I'm back is because All Talk really is a family.
Yeah.
This is a family business. This is the people, the show hosts. It's not a competition. It's a family, and so there is a family atmosphere here. It's not a big corporation,
Nope.
and I like that.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I know. I can't do corporate America.
I don't
yeah,
either. Thanks, George.
Yeah. Thank
It
you,
was
George.
fun.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Do you mind if I let the whole song play out at the end?
No.
So I can actually
And
hear
Let
it?
it go.
And here
Just
we
let it go.
have Elena Risto singing "Here I Am."
See you next week.
Here I am, standing at the door, looking back at life as it's been before, holding on to things that might have been, knowing that this day will never come again. As my spirit's guiding me to a place where I am free to be all that I can be. Here I am in stories that I know, feeling safe yet yearning to go. Time and dreams, partners in a dance, choosing steps with every new chance. As my spirit's guiding me to a place where I am free to be all that I can be. Deep in despair, thinking that no one really cared, I wandered lost and afraid. But with each new tomorrow, I can leave the sorrow, and change won't wait for yesterday. Here I am, feet upon new shores, river deep before me, crying there is more. Ships of dreams, sailing through the stars, winds are calling, follow your heart. As my spirit's guiding me to a place where I am free to be all that I can be. Here I am.